Okay, thanks everyone for joining us this afternoon. We'll go ahead and get started. Appreciate you joining the Commodity Redefined webinar. And I am here today with Keith Peterson, our head of strategy, and I'm Michael Brown, head of commodities. And we talk about some of the new and great things that are happening at bar chart, and we'll talk later about some of the new enhancements to Commodity View. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Keith for an overview of bar chart and some of the new things that he's working on. Keith?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So as you can see, bar chart is a leading provider of data and services to a lot of different communities, including commodities, right? And that's kind of what we're focused on today, with a particular focus on agriculture and the markets that surround that. But you know, bar chart's offerings are very broad. We cover global market data, company data, alternative data, and then we deliver all of that content through to our end users, basically however they want it, whether it's through data feeds, hosted digital solutions, where we provide content to websites and apps, streaming data, and then our own software, right? And that includes Commodity View, which we'll discuss at length today, Commodity View Excel, which is our Excel add-in that basically allows you to stream all the data that you have access to through Commodity View into Excel. And that's in some of our accompanying solutions as well. And just to give you a sense of the content that we have in our ecosystem, we have very broad coverage of both futures, options, equities, Forex, basically any asset class that you would want. And then with a specific focus on commodity data, so you can kind of take a look at all of our partners on the right side of the screen there, where we cover, you know, not only futures data, but you know, economic data, commodity statistics, and fundamental data through the USDA, Bureau of Economic Analysis, the U.S. Census, and then a lot of the different major reporting bureaus on a global basis. And then specific to agriculture and the commodity markets, what we're looking to discuss today is, you know, how we connect producers to merchandisers and agribusinesses through the confluence of those tools. And that's through, you know, websites, mobile apps, alerting, messaging, you know, all the data that you could potentially want, our leading software for global commodities trading, and then the ability to make offers directly to producers. So that full suite of tools essentially allows agribusinesses to operate at scale. This next section here is a survey that we did to agribusinesses. This was conducted in Q3, and we dealt with grain elevators, merchandisers, advisors, contracting advisors, trading houses. Basically, it runs a gamut in terms of the folks that we surveyed here. But as you can see, the grain merchandiser persona was far and away the largest participant in our study. And so basically, we wanted to understand how they manage their cash grain workflows today. And you know, this is important because more than ever, you know, people are investing a lot of money in disrupting the agricultural ecosystem for, you know, your traditional agribusiness. You look at the funding that, you know, the FBNs of the world, the Indigo Ags have you know, gotten, and it's clear that people are looking at that model as an opportunity. And so, you know, if you're a traditional firm, if you will, how are you positioning yourself to, you know, and your merchandisers to, you know, continue to be on the forefront of technology, be in front of your producers all the time? So that's what the survey was meant to better understand, and we'll just kind of walk you through the results here. So in terms of data workflows and cash bid tracking, you know, 70% of agribusinesses indicated that they use historical bids to identify seasonality patterns and basis. You would think that would be 100%, but you know, we got it at 70%. You know, and even though 70% of people are tracking that information, only about 30% of agribusinesses actually have software and data feeds that help them do that. A lot of people are still going to competitor websites and manually inputting, you know, their 5 the nearest local elevators to them, putting their bids into an Excel spreadsheet oftentimes, and then using that, or even a piece of grid paper, and using that to track their historical bids. So the evolution of this market and the ability for people to track bids, it hasn't seen the level of adoption that we would have thought. And there are a lot of solutions on the market for this, right? So firms can use real-time price updates to schedule alerts and automate pricing updates based on streaming data. So a good example is our cash bid data feed that you can subscribe to over API or within Commodity View, which reads into Commodity View Excel and allows you to really analyze that historical data. It removes potentially legacy processes that, if your Excel spreadsheet gets corrupted and you lose your historical tracking information, that's business continuity risk that we can help eliminate. So you can use this data to number one, kind of automate some things that you've done in the past, free up time for your merchandisers to do more productive things, and then on the more advanced forefront is build predictive models to come up with forecasted basis levels. And so having the right tools means everything, right? So everybody's got a real-time platform. If you're agribusiness, most merchandisers have them right on their desk, and it's something they're looking at all the time for real-time quotes. And that's great, but real-time quotes, they're not perhaps what they used to be, or they're still important, but increasingly, folks are starting to view those as table stakes, right? So it's having more and more features that are customized to the agribusiness that's going to help them outperform. And about 2/3 of businesses that we surveyed said that having historical bids in your platform was important to you. But then, nearly 70% either did not have cash bids in their real-time platform, or they didn't know about it, right? And if you don't know about it, you might as well not have it. So again, we have solutions available to help you with that. Commodity View Pro has over a decade of historical cash bid data that you can chart, you can put in a quote board, you can conduct analysis with it, and you can pull it right into Excel. So all that historical data is right there for you. And then additionally, right, so next generation data, cash bids, right, we view those almost as table stakes. Every agribusiness should have those in their platform, historical data as well. But there's other ways that you can conduct that that aren't just looking at cash bids specific to a location and or delivery period. We have the ability to use our commodity indexes, which are essentially localized fair values of grain, both on the cash basis and for basis itself. So we have county averages that are weighted based on elevator capacity, and we therefore can come up with these fair values. It starts as low as the county, and then that moves up to crop reporting districts, state, regions, and then of course a national cash price and a national basis value. But the whole goal here is to make it really easy to conduct analysis. So instead of aligning 5 different elevators, multiple different crops and delivery periods, and trying to do that work in Excel or on a one-off basis, we calculate that every day, actually in real time throughout the day as bids are updated. And you can actually have a county average for both cash and basis streaming in your platform in real time that'll tick based on future activity or if one of your competitors updates your bids. And a little did you know here, we are the only source for historical basis and cash price index values that allow you to essentially create seasonality models. This is built on the back of 4,000 individual grain buying locations and their data. So we have the broadest coverage of grain bid data out there, and we leverage that in order to create these indexes that you can't get anywhere else. It's value-added information that can help automate your workflows and just help you make better decisions. So a good example is using that to identify whenever basis is out of its historical range in real time. Imagine what you might be able to do with that sort of information. And then, you can develop forecasts on your own. We're actually working on our own basis forecast model right now. So a little teaser on what's to come in 2020. But, we're looking to do a lot of the work for our customers, our clients, and our partners. And then, a new offering that we brought into the market recently that hopefully a lot of you have subscribed to is our new daily U.S. grains price report. So this is a free report that you can sign up for on our website. So if you go to barchart.com/commodity, you'll be able to find it. You can click on any of the tiles that show our index values, and they'll lead you to a sign-up form for this report. But basically, this is a free report that gets emailed to you every morning at 7:30 and provides our users with an unparalleled view of what's going on in the cash markets throughout the country. As you can see there, just on the image on the screen, we have a nice summary of the global or the national grain prices for corn, beans, and 3 different varieties of wheat. We plot a forward curve for both corn and soybeans, and that's on the cash side. So as you can see, for every delivery period going out 12 months, we have the open, high, low, and close for each delivery period. So really interesting information that helps you get a good start to your day and know what's happening out there in the marketplace. And of note is that what this information is all available in Commodity View Pro, so you can create your own charts and forward curves that look just like this. And you can do that not only at the national level, but you can do that at the county level if you are so inclined. And then we go into the individual states itself. So, of the major corn producing states, we cover off 7 of those. Same thing with soybeans, and then we cover a couple of our state indices as well. And then on the second page of the report, we cover off the basis indices, so national basis indices for corn, beans, and wheat, just like we do for the cash, and then a overview of just grain futures content from cmdty, CME. So every morning you can get this right in your mailbox. You understand what the cash markets are, where the basis markets are, and then you can see what's going on in the futures market. So really a great way to start your day. And did I mention that it's free? So like I said, sign up today and get going. We've had a lot of great feedback on the report so far. We have hundreds of subscribers, and people really seem to like it. So take a look and let us know if you have any feedback. And then as I mentioned, you can get all that data in Commodity View Pro. It's fully included in your subscription, and you can pull that right into Excel with that subscription. And coming soon, we're actually going to be expanding the report. This is based on user feedback. People want to see more, right? So we are expanding the coverage to include a detailed analysis of basis indexes, where essentially we'll show you what counties are moving the most in some of the major producing states, both for corn and soybeans. So really cool analysis where you're going to be able to maybe spot opportunities, but ultimately make better decisions. So that's we're working on that right now. Updates should be coming very soon, but we're really excited to roll out those additions. The report's still going to be free, but we're basically doubling the amount of content in there, and then also giving users a sneak peek of our county level index prices for basis. And just the table on the right there is an example of something that you could create in Excel quite easily using our data. We have production data from the USDA elementized as an instrument or a ticker that you can pull into Excel. So Iowa corn production, Illinois corn production, national corn production, and then you can multiply that by our cash prices for those given states and come up with the value of production for a given area, right? So you can do that for state level, at the national level, the county level. The possibilities are really endless, but that's just to try to give our users an idea of the sort of powerful data that you can combine within Commodity View and Commodity View Excel to create insights that are difficult to do on your own. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michael, and he's going to go through Commodity View Pro and Commodity Match.
Okay, thanks a lot, Keith. All right, everyone. So I'm going to go through some of the new features and functionality and content that we've incorporated into Commodity View. But first, I want to give you kind of an overview of the product to get started for those of you that have not seen it yet or haven't been on one of our previous webinars. So Commodity View Pro is a brand new front-end desktop market solution built totally in HTML5. So it's completely browser-based. What that means for you is that there's no download required, no install, no firewall issues to worry about. You just get a URL and credentials and you log in and you're ready to go. It's secure, fast, and reliable. And since it's deployed on Amazon Web Services, it's fully scalable for the future. Also being web-based, it's responsive to any device. So you can build your workspace on your desktop. You can go home and log in on your tablet or your mobile phone, or log in on the road on somebody else's computer. And the entire workspace and materials that you've built will follow you wherever you go and whatever device that you happen to be on. We've recently launched a companion product to Commodity View called Commodity View Excel, which allows you to pull all of the data and information available in Commodity View into Excel to do further custom analysis that you need to do, or month-end reporting, for example, if you do a mark-to-market, things like that, and you need that information into Excel to create reports for your board or what have you, you can do all of that as well. So some of the new features and content that are now available. First of all, and probably one of the biggest new features, is that you are now able to manage your full physical grain offer deck within our Commodity Match platform. So producers are able to use our grains.com platform and submit offers to the merchandiser, which then show up in this dashboard, and the merchandiser is able to manage that deck from there. The producer can also call the merchandiser, and the merchandiser can create offers on behalf of the producer right here in his Commodity View platform via the Commodity Match module. Okay, we have also enhanced our seasonal charts. So seasonal charts have been in Commodity View for some time, but now you're able to do seasonal charts on fundamental data and cash data, not just futures. And so there's several new things that we can do there. For example, here you're looking at a seasonal chart on the corn progress in the planting stage of the crop progress report. So if you look at the light gray line, that's obviously 2019 when planting got off to a very late start in many areas. And you can see that compared to the other 4 or 5 years. And the green line is the average for those 5 or 6 years that we're showing here. So you can get a very quick handle on how things are progressing from a fundamental standpoint versus previous years and what that might mean to the overall crop. Okay, we have also added the ability to do seasonal charts on basis so that you can create and look at the seasonality over several years on basis. So here we're looking at a December corn basis, and we're looking at about 6 years there versus the average again in green. So you can see the basis this year is very strong versus historical norms, and you can make presumptions on that based on where it's moved from here in past years. We've also just added the ability to do seasonal charts on calendar spreads and other expressions. So you could do a soybean crush, for example, and see the seasonality around the soybean crush spread, or a livestock spread, or just simple calendar spreads as we've shown here. So we're looking at Dece to March corn spreads over the last 5 years, and again the average in green and the current year in blue. using the Commodity View Excel tool that we looked at earlier. Another thing that you're able to do is chart forward curves around the cash markets and the basis. Now, this is something that you're probably all familiar with in the futures market, but there's very few tools out there where you can actually build a forward curve and actually have the content available to build the forward curve around the cash markets. And then finally, about a third of our attendees today are from outside of the US. And you can see here that in addition to doing forward curves and cashes and basis, you can also do forward curves on foreign currency forwards. And so you can get a full forward curve on, say, the euro versus US dollar versus Canadian, what have you. Another new feature is our report generator. And so in this module, you're able to see PDF reports that are released from major reporting agencies like the USDA, the Energy Information Association, BLS, and others. Another new feature, to make it really easy to get started off with Commodity View, is we've created a full gallery of workspaces, which you can just click on the little gallery icon, bring up a list and description of the various workspaces that are available. Just double click and that consumes that right into your workspace within Commodity View, and you're off and running with just a simple click. We've also added the ability to localize your experience in Commodity View by adding 4 other languages besides English to the platform. So you can simply go into settings and choose Spanish, French, Portuguese, or Russian. Other languages to come, but this is what we have today. We've also added a little feature where you can stay up to date on new happenings at bar chart and new features and functionality being added to Commodity View. Just click on the little flag icon down in the lower right-hand corner, and you get the latest and greatest. And finally, we have the new economic calendar, which gives you a real nice heads-up dashboard on all major reports that are being released, with information on when they're being released, what time of day, what the prior numbers were for that particular report, and then when the report comes out, you'll see the actual numbers for that day's report. So very easy to watch, get a good heads up on, say, this morning the WSDA report was released, and so you're able to see, in real time when that report is released and get the latest numbers. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Keith for a look at our up and coming yield forecast indexes.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So this is a project that we've been working on throughout 2019, and we're very excited about it. We're going to be doing a slow rollout to Commodity View Pro users and towards the end of the year, and then we're going to be doing a full launch where we'll be actually providing releases on a monthly basis for yield forecasts, similar to what the USDA puts out. So look for that next year, where we're going to be marketing and actively making everybody aware of where our forecasts are. But basically we take satellite imagery and calculate many derived statistics for given areas throughout the country. So we pull NDVI data, NDWI data, land surface temperature, min-max temperatures for air temperature, and then accumulated precipitation, along with many other factors, and use that through a machine learning model to come up with yield forecasts. And so these are done on a daily basis for thousands of different areas throughout the country. So for every crop producing county in the nation, we calculate a daily yield for that, and then we aggregate that information up. So we calculate it for the county, and then we use that to calculate values and yield forecasts for crop reporting districts, state, and then finally a national level. So these will actually be in Commodity View sometime in the next month, and users will be able to take a look at that. I know we're getting pretty close to harvest, and this stuff's pretty much locked in. I know Indigo Ag just released their final forecast for the year, I believe yesterday. We're right in line with them. Interestingly enough, we're both a little bit different from the USDA, which, given the uncertainty around this year's production, that could either be a good thing or a bad thing. We shall see when the final numbers come out in February. But our model has outperformed USDA predictions historically. So we feel that that's actually representative of an opportunity where our estimates for corn production and bean production, our yield for 2019 are a little bit different from the USDA's. So we're really happy about where we're going with that. And as you can see there, here's 2017 and 2018 corn yields. The red line that you see that's straight across is the final USDA number that is released in February of the following year. So the 2017 chart on the left, that red number is actually from February 2018. So hindsight is 2020, as you all know. The yellow line or the orange line is the intermediate number that's released from the USDA. So as they put out their numbers every month, you can see they started converging towards where the final number that was reported in February came out. Our figures, we start, number one, we produce them earlier, right? So our first estimate or forecast comes out in June, and then we report that daily and make updates to our model and throughout the entire season until when we lock in our reporting or our predicted value. So as you can see, sometime in the middle of August, our numbers started climbing considerably based on what we were seeing with geospatial information, and then very closely converged into the final number that was reported in February of 2018 by the USDA. So as you can see, our numbers were outperformed USDA in 2017 for corn. 2018, same story, right? We converged towards the final number before the USDA did, and in fact, their final number was quite a bit off from, or their final intermediate number, I should say, was quite a bit off from where the final number from February came out. So as you can see, really good performance for corn in 2017 and 2018. Michael, can you go to the next slide? And here's an example of corn in Iowa, right? Obviously, Iowa is the largest corn production state in the nation, and just to show that we perform well not only at the national level, but as you go down in granularity, our numbers were quite strong for Iowa corn last year as well. We were a bit closer to the final USA number than their intermediate reports were as well. So I can say this, we are not cherry picking the data. So here's 2018 beans, and we were pretty much dead on throughout the growing season, and again, outperformed the USDA. So really promising, information here, but the proof's in the pudding. So we will be releasing, like I said, the data into Commodity View Pro for our subscribers this year, and then more kind of like full releases to the public in 2020. But the data will be there for all of our subscribers. You can take a look at it. It has historically outperformed. You'll definitely be hearing more from us on that as we progress. But that's just a little taste of what's to come. Michael.
All right, sounds very good. Thanks, Keith. There were just a couple of questions while we're talking. One was, can I get historical commodity newswire news? And good news is the answer is yes. In Commodity View, in a news index, you can simply scroll backwards and get older releases of various stories and reports as well. We also have a Newswire API that some might be interested in that you can grab those historical stories and current updates from as well. Another question, Keith, was how can I sign up for the Daily Grains report?
Yeah, sure. So that's simple. You just go to barchart.com/commodity, and there we make it very easy to find a link to the grains report. You can click any of the price boxes for our indexes at the top of the web page, or if you go to any of the inside pages, like the data page, the index page, there's going to be a module that you can click and it'll put you right through to a sign-up form. So super easy to get started, and as I mentioned earlier, we're making a lot of additions to the report. That's going to make it even more valuable to our users.
Very good. Another question was, I assume the pricing is available on your website? I can grab that
Yeah,
one.
you want to take that one, Michael?
Yep. I sure can. Generally, no. Pricing's not out on the website, but I can tell you that Commodity View, for example, is very competitively priced at $2.19 per month, and has far more content and information and better tools and much easier to use than any other platform out there, and at a very, very competitive price point at $2.19 a month.
Another one just came in there. Anything for energy markets? Yeah, sure. So we are actually looking and going to be adding more energy information into our product suite very shortly. We have a series of refined fuel indexes, so retail pricing for all the major travel centers throughout the United States. So we have the raw data from all the travel centers, much in the way that we have grain elevator pricing, and then we have localized indexes for that as well. So that sort of information might be really valuable if you manage a trucking fleet and you want to understand, the cost to transport grain from one area to another. So not only do we have the grain prices in both of those locations, but we'll also have the fuel prices that you could get or be able to use along the way. So more information like that. We have cash crude oil prices that we're going to be putting into Commodity View, and of course making them available over API or through Excel or however anybody wants to use it. Those are going to be available, and actually they are in Commodity View right now. We just haven't told people about it, but that information's out there too. And more to come in that space for sure, because we definitely recognize that there's a close relationship between energy and agriculture, particularly in biofuels, and we're looking to create products that serve our clients and our partners.
Okay, very good. And that's all the questions that have come in. But certainly feel free to follow up with either Keith or I. Our emails are on the screen right now, mbrown@barchart.com and keith@barchart.com. So feel free to follow up with any other questions, or if you'd like to take a trial of any of the services that we've talked about today. So thank you all very much for joining us, and keep an eye out for future webinars from Barchart. Thanks so much.